All right, welcome back, guys. Good morning from London. Let's get started today. Who's in the chat? What's going on? Everyone say hello. Thank you to Tara Faye Bell for following at the end of yesterday's session. That was good. Just came on at the end, so I didn't get a chance to say thank you, but it is much appreciated. All right, so today we said we're going to start chapter 2 again. Hey, Tallulah Channel, great to have you here. Okay, so cool. So stay tuned because after I get this first page, my page for the day written down, we've got some homework to go over. We've got your plot to go over. I do have some interesting maybe ideas for you to consider that might help your plot just tighten up a little bit. Maybe they're good ideas, maybe they're not good ideas. We will see. So, okay, so today, yeah, we are starting chapter 2. of this novel again, because as we saw previously, this chapter 2 didn't quite work when we wrote it previously. So we said yesterday that we know what the plot is now, that our guy Sharp, he's got to go and infiltrate this enemy organization, essentially, the rival organization to the 18th captain of the Yakuza, right? And who is in control of this rival organization? It's the twin sister. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. We've got two sisters, two very powerful sisters, essentially going at it. So yeah, okay. TallulahChannel is drafting. Yeah, well, that's good because I'm about to draft what this scene is, what this chapter is doing. And the one thing I wanna go over is, in my mind anyway, you guys probably all know this, is yeah, you want to cut out all of the boring bits of the novel. And I can just see, I understand how this novel plays out from here, right? We've got this guy, he's got to go and infiltrate an organization, and we know he's got to start at the bottom, he's got to, you know, make friends with someone in the organization, one of the lowest guys, and then he's got to start building up, right, through the ranks. And you know what? That's kind of boring. I mean, we've seen it all before. What we all want is to see the big action scenes, right? That's what we want, the big action scenes. We want the interesting scenes. We want the love scenes. We want, the powerful scenes, not the, okay, we have to do this because it's a stepping stone to get to that. So what I was thinking of, a few things. First of all, what would happen if, instead of having all of this, preamble, this whole journey getting towards the climax of our guy Sharp meeting Mizuki Matsumoto, what would happen if we just got there straight away? What would happen if we just started chapter 2 with him sitting down opposite Mizuki Matsumoto and we just cut straight there? What would happen? And then chapter 3 would be, another one of these incredible scenes. What would happen if we just built up the novel like that, literally taking out all of the in-between steps and just leaving in the major scenes? According to, Elmore Leonard, that might work. And I think also Raymond Chandler was quite a big proponent of that. If anyone has read, let's see if I have one of his books here, The Big Sleep, or what's the other one called? Whatever, Playback, I think is, another one. These books, these kind of pulp, original sort of detective, not detective, but like hardcore detective kind of books, they were all about, skipping out the in-between stuff. They just, one scene was, the man with a gun comes into the room, shoots someone. The next scene, the protagonist is, beating the hell out of that guy. And, there's no like tracking him down or anything like that. I don't know. It might be a way to go. But here's what I know about this scene so far. Here's what I know about the chapter. I'm just going to write it all, and then and then we'll try and put a page down and see if this idea might work. So first of all, we know that the sister Mizuki, she is in Koto. That is a city just east of Shinjuku. Okay, I know that because of the research that we did. Okay, so Koto is east of Shinjuku, and Mizuki is unhinged. Right, she's an unhinged character. We found that out yesterday. Is an unhinged character. She's only just come to power 10 months ago as a captain of the Yakuza. Okay, that's roughly that's sort of the setting of the scene. And the other thing was, okay, and by the way, this is a port city. This is Koto has the port of Tokyo, so that's probably going to be a major backdrop Okay, so because Kuri Matsumoto said yesterday that, or was it she who controls Koto controls the docks, right? And the docks, obviously being a Yakuza, a mob story, the docks are going to be vital for contraband and, shipping in, human trafficking, drugs, all that stuff. So actually the docks and the port of Tokyo are probably going to be a really nice backdrop. We can imagine these huge shipping containers. It's quite vivid. And our guy just, sort of in the middle of it all. You can imagine a chase scene, maybe going through these, multicolored shipping containers, him being chased by, some members of the Yakuza who have, gotten onto him, cottoned on that this guy's a spy, and, and then maybe he can break into one of the shipping containers. Maybe with those shipping containers contain, guns. Can you imagine that? I mean, we've all seen that scene in like The Expendables or something like that. The guy he happens to run into a shipping container to hide. He sort of switches on a light somewhere and he's just, oh my gosh, all of these guns, and he comes out very Rambo style maybe and just blasts away all the enemies. That could be a fun scene to write. So Port of Tokyo, shipping containers full of contraband. This is the mob after all. So I hope this is making sense, guys. That sounds like a really vivid scene, right? I would love to write that scene. He just goes into a shipping container, finds all of these guns, and then boom, blows away all of the other Yakuza that are following him. What do you guys think of that? Can you see that scene in your head? I'm open to suggestions. For everyone just joining now, at the end of this page of writing, we're gonna bring up some work from TallulahChannel, and we are going to go through it, and we're going to see if we can improve the plot. Everyone is welcome to make comments and constructive criticism, so we can all help each other get better as writers. Okay, so there's potential here for a really interesting and fun scene. And the other thing I want to just write is David Mamet's three principles. I don't know, I had them in my head throughout yesterday, so let's see. So those 3 principles are, guys, that every scene that you write has to answer 3 questions. And what are those 3 questions? Who wants what? From whom? What happens if they don't get it? And why now? Okay, if you can answer these 3 questions, then your scene at least has merit. Might not, it's got to be a good scene, right? So who wants what from whom? Well, we need to answer these questions for our protagonist. So why now? We know this one already because yesterday, basically, Mizuki said, because if not, the Yakuza is going to lose more business. Wow, not loose, but lose more business as a result of Mizuki's not naivety, but lack of experience. Okay, that's why this one has to go. Okay, so that's that. That's why it has to happen. Now, what happens if they don't get it? Again, the Yakuza is going to pay the price, basically, right? Okay. And who wants what from whom? So it's basically our guy Sharp. He wants to infiltrate the organization. So he's going to have to, again, I don't really want to do all this boring step-by-step business, but he wants to infiltrate Mizuki's organization. Gosh. Right. Okay, that'll do. Mizuki's organization. Right, yeah. So these are kind of the things that I need to keep in mind when writing this thing. All right, so let's try and go with and then we need, as we always do, compelling last line. Right, something that makes the reader turn the pages, and then the first line has got to be something that just grabs the reader's attention as if it's chapter 1. So here we go. What should we? What might what might we go with? Let's have a look. So I'm thinking, and by the way, guys, you can shout out ideas or anything in the chat as we go along. I'm not precious over this. So, okay. All right. I think everything is working there. Sorry, this. Don't think we're having any skip problems with the video. Okay. Right. Let's say 2 days after my meeting with Curie Matsumoto, what's the word? I arrived at the docks, at the port of Tokyo, I think it's called. At the port of Tokyo for my first day of work. And yeah, we need to make that. So 2 days after my meeting with Curie Matsumoto, at the port of for my first day of work. And began and for my first day of work and putting in, right, we'll have to make this a lot better, but Tokyo for my first day of work and putting the plan we'd worked out into place. All right, so maybe they've done all of that. Okay. All right. Let's see. So, if he's at the port of Tokyo, and this is a Yakuza-run business, then. Okay, so then maybe a lot of these, a lot of the guys at the dock are in fact Yakuza people. That does help me. Okay, let's put in a little bit of that. So let's give a little bit of information here. So despite being a criminal organization, the Yakuza runs many legitimate businesses throughout Japan, albeit with much off-book dealings, let's say. Okay, whatever. What I mean is that they might well run legitimate businesses, but that's only as a cover for their as like shell companies or things like that. So let's say he's walking through the docks with his manager. Okay, so walking through the docks. Again, I'm just sort of word vomiting here. I don't need to worry about writing perfect sentences just yet. I just want to sketch out the scene, or at least this first page. Walking through the docks, between the shipping containers, the multicolored shipping containers. So maybe he's already sort of got the job. Maybe we can leave that part out of it, right? We can just skip to the interesting part. And maybe one of these guys says, he's just showing him around on his first day, and he says, this is the area for this is the area for that, and don't go into that area over there at any point. That area is off limits. Okay, and obviously then we want to know, what's in that area. Okay, and that's going to be somehow that's going to give our protagonist some kind of leverage or some way into into Mizuki's operation. So it's got to be something like that. Again, just word vomiting here. We don't need to worry about anything. The ideas, I'm sure, will come. Let's just get rid of that that was just a guide. Okay. Yeah, now the Yakuza, okay, so there's also a few like sort of jokey kind of things that we can say. If you imagine that the Yakuza, the Japanese mob, if they've got a business, if they're running a business, they're probably like the most, you know, equal opportunity employer that you can imagine, really. So maybe a lot of their staff on the docks are like, you know, ex-convicts and things like that. Again, just sort of trying to build up a picture of where we are, and then we can maybe use these threads in a second. Equal opportunity employer. They'd have about the best union. The workers' union must be like the best union in the world. Nobody's going to mess with the Yakuza, right? If they say we want a raise, they're getting a raise. Best workers' union in the world. Let's say, you know, Section 6 is closed down for some reason, and that potentially is going to be the question that we're going to answer in this scene. You know, what is really going on at the docks? We know there's contraband, right? That's obvious. But maybe this sister Mizuki, this crazy sister, she is planning something, and it's all been in secret, and that's why all these problems for the past 10 months have started to crop up. So Section 6 is closed down. Do not go there under any, you know, circuit. That's maybe what the manager tells our protagonist. Obviously, you know, Sharp, our guy Sharp, he's going to immediately try and go there and find out what's in Section 6 of the port of Tokyo. Okay. Do not go there under any circumstances. Okay, so let's just put in let's start to put in a bit of dialogue. So we've got them. So these two guys are walking down. So one of them says, you know, we do 100 million tons of cargo. Or he doesn't need to say cargo. We do 100 million tons a year, right? Obviously it's cargo. They're in a shipping yard. Said my manager as we walked through, let's say, the vast stacks. No, through the towering stacks of multicolored shipping containers. All right. So we do 100 million. This is just giving the scale of this operation. So my manager proudly, right? He's probably going to be proud of that. All right. And then Sharp, our guy Sharp. Remember, who's our protagonist? He is, you know, a very sort of terse character, and he cuts straight to the chase. He's not a talker. He's just going to say something like, "Yeah, how much is contraband? You know, how much is, you know, contraband?" You know, he's cutting straight to the point. He's probably, you know, made this alias for himself in order to get this job. He's there as an undercover agent for a rival Yakuza captain. So this all has to be worked out, but basically this is the type of question I think he's going to ask. He's just very blunt. And then the guy's going to be taken aback. He gave me, you know, a bit of a look. Must be, you know, at least. I do remember reading a while back that I think 2% of all London. I live in London, so this is why I know this. 2% of all the cargo that comes into London, I think, is contraband. You know, talking real, like, illegal stuff. So I think I'm going to use that here. It must be at least, you know, 2%. Because our protagonist is from London, just to make that clear. So let's use that. Must be at least 2%. I said. My friend in London says that's the situation over there. Okay. Well, why do we need to say my friend, right? That's the situation in London anyway. That's the situation in London anyway. Okay, our guy is from London, so he doesn't need to say anything like that. Okay. Questions like that. Can get you in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble around here. Okay. He said. All right. So, you know, this is probably a good thing if, you know, Sharp, if his mouth is already getting him into a bit of trouble. We want to make, wherever he goes, people should be just slightly suspicious of him in order to build that suspense and tension. Like, oh, are they going to find out? You know, are they going to get onto him? Is he going to be able to enact his plan? So I think that's kind of what we're doing here. So work. All right. So maybe Sharp is going to use that. Questions like that can get you in a lot of trouble around here, Sharp, he said. Yeah, it's some, maybe he'll, you know, Sharp will say, yeah, but you know, who's going to fire me? We've got the best workers' union in the world. Then I guess it's a good thing. We've got about the best workers' union in the world. Okay. He laughed at that. And not because it wasn't... and not because it wasn't untrue? I don't know. I sort of know what I want to say, but that's obviously not the way to say it. Not because it wasn't untrue. Half the guys on the... half the guys at the port were ex-convicts. All right, what have we got here? Nerd Rock from Nerd Rock from the Sun. Hey, great name, love that. Thank you for following. Great to have you here. Hope you're enjoying the content. Are you a writer? That's what we all want to know in the chat. Are you a writer? And if so, what are you writing? Okay, join the discussion and let's all try and help each other. Okay, also what's annoying me right now is the fact that none of this is formatted. So let me just go back and just put in a little bit of these indents. My gosh. And let me also plug in my Mac. 1 second, guys. Technical problems today. All right, here we go. All right. TallulahChannel, how's it going with the sketching, with the drafting? All right. Let us know. What are you guys doing? Are you writing at the same time? All right. You laughed at that, and not because it wasn't untrue. Okay. This looks good. All right. Okay, so our guy, so they're walking down the port. Okay, and the thing that he's going to say is, you know, section 6. Look, section 6 is off limits. Under no circumstances go there, right? Under no circumstances This is like the last line. This is the compelling line. First time. Here we go. What's going on there? Nerd Rock from the Sun. Always happy to support a writing stream. Screenwriter myself. Debut film. Currently on the festival circuit and performing really well. Happy to have found your channel. Great to have you here. Really happy to hear that as well. Screenwriter. What kind of film is it? How's it doing? Feel free to advertise whatever you want on here. We're all supporting each other, and tell us about your writing process. Where your struggles are, any tips and hints that you've picked up over the years. We would all love to hear it. This is I'm writing my 4th book now. First book, Hearing Voices, came out in 2017. To some kind of success. So now the thing is, can I improve upon that? All right. So section 6 is off limits. He told me. Right, and under no circumstances was I to go there. He didn't know me very well. That's sort of like the last line of this page, right? Because we understand, this guy's going to then... We know what Sharp is going to do. He's going to go straight to section 6, right? The question is what's going to be in section 6 that's such a big deal. So we've answered these questions. Okay. That's going to be the question, and that's a tomorrow problem. That's not a today problem. That's a tomorrow problem. Okay, we just did that. All right, it's called Censure. Nerd Rock from the Sun telling us about his debut film. It's called Censure. Somehow managed to snag Tom Conti to feature in the cast. Find it on IMDb. I'm a proud parent of this dark little film. Second film shooting in November. Amazing. How long have you been writing, screenwriting in order to before you made a break, before you got your break into the industry? Let us know. Let all the smaller time writers like me fill our heads with dreams of one day it can happen to you too. Okay, albeit. Is that how you spell albeit? What is it? Albeit. There we go. Albeit with much. Right. Okay. Has walked through the towering stacks of multicolored shipping containers. How much is contraband? I asked. He gave me a bit of a look. Must be at least 2%, I said. That's the situation in London anyway. Questions like that can get you in a lot of trouble around here, Sharp, he said. But I didn't think. But I wasn't too. But I wasn't too. I wasn't too worried. He said. But it didn't really have much, he said, but without much, yeah, that's better. But without much conviction in his voice. So it's something like that is what I'm trying to say. Then I guess it's a good thing we've got about the best workers' union in the world. Said. Okay, he laughed at that, not because it wasn't true. Half the guys at the port were ex-convicts. And proudly displaying their tattoos. I got offered a gig as a scriptwriter for a Jamie East podcast, weirdly via a Twitter post. After that, a few doors opened, nothing but pure luck, and right place, right time. Yeah, and probably a lot of talent too, I imagine. So yeah, wow, well done. Congratulations. It's always great to hear someone in our community is getting their break, getting their chance, and taking it. So good luck. You know, we're all behind you. We're all gonna, stay up to date with censure. All right, we're gonna go and check that out. Maybe we'll check that out at the end of this stream, and we'll have a look, see what's going on. Okay, so section 6 is off limits. Let's put that over here. He told me. And that under no circumstances was I to go there. He didn't know me very well. Okay. On your circuit film at Nerd Run for the Sun. Yeah, exactly. Agreed. Coffee Quills joining in. Great to have you here, by the way, Coffee Quills. Gosh, it must be late for you guys, right? I mean, here it's like, what, it's 8:30 in London. You guys, you're at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. where you guys are? Okay, two days after my meeting with Kyo Matsumoto, I arrived at the port of Tokyo for the first day of work. Okay. I don't know what this line is. Just finished meeting my word count for the day on my writing contest fic. Wow. All right. What is your word count for the day, TallulahChannel? Nice. All right. Putting the plan into place. Okay. Despite being a criminal organization, the Yakuza runs many legitimate businesses throughout Japan, albeit to hide their off-book dealings. Okay. Said my... I don't know if manager is the right word, but... 246. I ended up adding 365. Yeah, 365. I think that's a good word count. You know, it's about a page of A4 at least. So that's pretty much my word count goal as well for a day. You know, it's not so difficult to write one page. Plus, you can then edit it to your heart's content for the rest of the day, which I prefer to do. You know, some people say just, write the whole first draft and then go back and edit it. You know what? I don't mind doing it a page at a time, as long as the pages are interesting and not full of waffle. Okay, so I can probably give a little bit of background here. So Koto is east of Shinjuku, and right, we know that. Okay, we know that. We don't need these sentences here. Alright, the port of Tokyo first day of work. Koto is east of Shinjuku. Is this in front? The one band, I can't remember. I can't help you with that. Do minor edits when I need to reread. Uh-huh. Yeah. I think reading a chapter through, once you finish a chapter, read it through from start to finish. See if the whole thing makes sense. But also see if all the chapters are stacking up together as well. All right, everyone's editing today. What do you guys find is the one thing that you always find in your edits that you're doing not so well? So for me, it's dialogue has gone on way too far, right? There's just too many lines of dialogue. It could have just been made much, much shorter. I've got better at it, but that's definitely one thing. I hope the guys at Port Esquadron proudly displaying their tattoos. Tattoos of allegiance. Okay, of allegiance. Alright. Okay, basically just need to finish this page now. I'm almost there. So what's going on? Section 6 off limits. No circumstances where I to go there. He didn't know me very well. Okay. Let's see. As they did this, blah, blah, blah. Once that was done, blah, blah, blah. Shaking the head, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Right, so just those sort of extra little phrases that don't necessarily need to be there, Tallulah. Uh-huh. Okay. From the scale of the... That's just how our minds work, right? You know, we all have, you know, different ways of processing what's in our head. And then you can kind of see that on the page, and then you just need to... yeah, you just need to refine it for an actual audience. I think we all have that. It's like when we're speaking, we all have little phrases that we stick in constantly, and that's our vernacular. That's how you... In fact, that's a really important thing to do for characters, isn't it? You know, they have a certain way of speaking, certain catchphrases, and that's so important to put into your work. Make the characters come alive. Okay, from the scale of the operation, okay, so Curie had said that business had been negatively impacted since her sister had taken over. But from the sheer noise and scale of what I was seeing, it was hard to believe that that anything was wrong. Something like that. Basically, our guy's just he's like, maybe this sister is really doing this Mizuki. What is she going to be? You know, I have an idea for this. What's in section 6 actually? I wonder if they could do one of those underground fight scenes. There's I'm thinking like Fight Club, but maybe at the docks. Maybe at the port of Tokyo. I can imagine that. Either you lock... you're fighting sleep hard, hey? Okay, I'll tell you what. TallulahChannel. I'm going to pause my work here. And let's bring up what you had, because I do want to give you the notes that I had. So I'm going to bring up, if it's all right with you, we're going to share it with the class. So we're going to bring up what you sent me. And let's see. Okay, so where's that notebook that you sent me? Here we go. Okay, so guys, this is 1 second. This is, there we go. Can you see that? All right. Let's maximize this. This is from Tallulah. All right, and this is her her notes, her first kind of draft on a story that she's working on called the Mad Woman. So let's read it through, and then we can all sort of go through it together. By the way, I love the fact that you have, you know, pictures pictures in here. It's great. By the way, can you guys see like green lines on the screen or not? I need to get rid of those. How do I get rid of those? Oh, that's better. Never mind. Okay. I love the fact that, yeah, I love that the fact that you have pictures of your characters. That's awesome. So, okay. Summary. The Mad Woman is described as a monstrous version of oneself. In this world, everyone has their own version of the Mad Woman. Some can control it, others cannot. Camilla is one of those people. Okay. Yeah, no, it's good. It's great. Visual aids, you know, we can see the characters. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we have our protagonist, Camilla. We've got, okay, now how do you say this name? Because I was looking at this and I was like, I've got no idea, right? Is it Michelle? What is this? How do we say this? How do we say this name of the mad woman? Her mad woman. I'm going with like Michelle. Okay, but that's our mad woman. We have right, and only Camilla can see her, right? Michelle. Oh, Michelle. I like that. Okay, so we have Michelle. And then we have who's this? We have the Nicolette, right? So Nicolette is Camilla's best friend, and she's married to Cornelio Silva. Well, my R&B knowledge is not what it should be, clearly, but okay. And Scarlett, we have the Camilla's therapist. Okay, so we've basically got 5 principal characters. We have Camilla, we have her mad woman, which only she can see, and we have her best friend Nicolette and her husband, and we also have the therapist. Okay, so those are our characters. And I think this is this line here, this quote, I think you're depending on other people for your happiness. This is essentially the theme of the novel, right? This is the theme this is the lesson that that our protagonist needs to learn, that Camilla needs to learn, that she shouldn't depend on other people for her own happiness. She needs to she needs to rely on herself, right? It's in her hands. It's in all of our hands. It's that universal lesson that no matter what the plot is doing, that's really what the character needs to learn by the end of the novel. So great, right? Really points in your favor because you are sketching out what is going to be a great character arc that we can all relate to. So plot points. I'm just going to read this through for everyone, and then I'll give my notes, and then we see what everyone else wants to chip in. I think that would be really helpful. So here we go. The story opens up with a party at a penthouse thrown by Nicolette. That's the best friend, right? She and Cornelio, her husband, just got back from their honeymoon, and she wanted a get-together with her friends and family. Camilla, our protagonist, is by the bar sulking with her glass of wine. She's upset that a date stood her up, and she hates Nicolette's relationship. Michelle takes advantage of her foul mood and tries to persuade her to leave, but she stays despite her mood. Oh wow, okay. So Tallulah saying this is a dramatized version of something that she herself went through, which is great. Drawing on personal experiences in some way obviously lends so much power to our work. So yeah, let's see how this progresses. Okay, so we got this opening scene at the party. Protagonist sulking in the corner. We get it. Okay, in therapy the next morning, Scarlett tells Camilla. Scarlett is the therapist. Tells Camilla that she should focus on things outside of her friendship with Nicolette. Fortunately for her, she's putting together dresses for her cousin's wedding, even though she hates weddings. Michelle notices that Camilla seems happy doing this, and she should do it all the time. Camilla then gets a call from Nicolette about hanging out, but Camilla tells her that she's swamped with this wedding, but they make plans to hang out next weekend. When the next weekend comes, Nicolette cancels with Camilla. Okay, so Nicolette, she asked her to be there, and now Nicolette is the one cancelling as well at the last minute because her husband surprised her with a helicopter date. Michelle teases Camilla about it and says that she should get a boyfriend and treat Nicolette the same way, right? So we can see this is a dark character, this Michelle. She is really causing havoc with the psychological state of our protagonist, right? She suggests Boyd Ingram, who has a crush on her. He isn't exactly attractive, but he's there. Okay, so we have some bad advice being given by this mad woman. Listening to Michele, Camilla goes on a date with Boyd, but she would rather be somewhere else. Nicolette is at the same restaurant, and Camilla practically throws herself at Boyd and says he's her boyfriend. That backfires on her the next morning when he's blowing up her phone with good morning texts and gifts. Camilla considered giving up the relationship, but Michele tells her to stay because it will teach Nicolette a lesson. Camilla makes a joke about marrying him, and Michele says that's a great idea. Okay, so we are... read aloud the dark corner. No. This is great. This is great so far. So guys, keep listening, all right? Tallulah, I know it's nerve-wracking to have someone read your work, but no, I think it's going well so far. Later that day, Camilla goes to her therapy appointment where she gets sound advice about telling Nicolette how she really feels. 2 days later, Camilla and Nicolette have lunch and they talk. Michele is there to instigate when Nicolette says something that Camilla doesn't want to hear and they get into an argument. This prompts Camilla to end their friendship, okay? If ending her friendship wasn't hard enough, Boyd Ingram comes to her to talk about their relationship and the truth about it. Camilla tells him the truth and they break up, right? Boyd is rightfully upset about how Camilla treated him, but she doesn't seem to take accountability. Camilla is... Oh, I've just actually had another thought reading that paragraph, so I better remember that. Camilla is alone in the apartment working on the dresses for her cousin's wedding when Michele is ranting about how Camilla doesn't need them or anyone else. She needs to focus on herself. Camilla seems uninterested in anything Michele has to say because listening to her is how she got to where she is, single with no friends or a job. Michele finds her grateful and thinks she should be thanking her for being the only person willing to put up with her. She reminds Camilla that she could make her life hell if she doesn't listen to her, but Camilla ignores her. Michele kept her word and made Camilla's life hell. Michele kept her up most nights with her voice and took away the joy in her activities. If it wasn't for the fact that her aunt was paying her to do the job, she wouldn't be able to get through it. She was completely exhausted. After 4 weeks of this, Camilla made an appointment with her therapist. She looked terrible when her therapist saw her. The woman almost felt sorry for her. I guess that's Scarlett, right? Scarlett almost felt sorry for her. Camilla tells her that the mad woman has been bothering her. She tried ignoring her, but she won't stop. Scarlett lets her know that ignoring the mad woman doesn't go away. She won't go away if you ignore her. She can only be controlled. However, Camilla has to be the one to take the upper hand or the mad woman would continue to control her. Scarlett encourages Camilla to counteract her mad woman. It's the only way Camilla can gain control. After some time, Camilla will gains the strength over her mad woman. Even when Michele tries to torture her, she finds ways to counter her. One day, while she's at a boutique, Camilla runs into Nicolette and they talk. There's no promise that they'll be friends again, but she never knows what the future's going to hold. Okay. So obviously these sort of last two paragraphs, they're a bit vague because that part of the story hasn't maybe been, developed yet as well as the beginning scenes. But okay, so here are my thoughts. Let me just get them on this other screen and then I can just, because I wrote them down as I was reading. 1 second, here we go. All right, so. I see, okay, fine. So they're vague on purpose. That's the scene is a lot of dialogue. Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. This is obviously just, this is your outline. So as long as it makes sense to you and you know where you're going with it, that's great. So some things that I have to offer, maybe, and again, these are just things that occur to me. But one thing, so first let me recommend a book where I'm sort of bringing this information from, and then you can do with that what you will. So the book is by Albert, what's his name? Zuckerman. Albert Zuckerman. He's one of the agents. I think he's the agent of Ken Follett. Massive writer, very successful author. Anyway, he wrote a book explaining, how to write the best-selling novel, and he has a number of points in there. A lot of them which you're hitting. So one of the things is have a very tight cast. So he recommends about 4 characters, principal characters, and you've got about 4. Okay, maybe 5 or 6 if you include the husband of what's her name, of Nicolette's husband, and Boyd, right? So there's maybe 6, but whatever. Four, you're about right there. So that's good. But something you might want to consider. The first thing that that came out to me is that this story it sort of reaches its midpoint very, very, very quickly. Too quickly, in my opinion. So what I mean by that is this. Yeah, fine. Using it as practice. So maybe we can make this one adjustment here, right? So you've got Camilla. She listens to her mad woman, right? She listens to her mad woman, and what happens? So she's at this party. She feels alone, and then she gets a call from her best friend, and then that whole thing gets cancelled, and her mad woman says, "Look, you need to go out with this guy, Boyd Ingram, sort of take revenge on your best friend who's treating you like dirt." So she does that, and immediately everything goes wrong, right? Everything goes wrong. We get to this midpoint very quickly, right? Where is it? It's here, right? So yeah, she goes to she listens to a mad woman. She gets this. She sort of goes out with this Boyd Ingram, and then the next day she's immediately regretting it. She goes to therapy. The therapist tells her, you need to basically sort your life out. She has a lunch with Nicolette, and that all goes wrong, right? She breaks up the friendship, and also Boyd Ingram, he sort of like wants to talk as well, and she breaks off that relationship. Okay, and that's happened basically like that. There was no in between. It was just Camilla listened to a mad woman, and then everything goes wrong. So what I would suggest is that things need to get better and better and better for her in the beginning. So she starts listening to the mad woman, and then her life gets better and better. So things should start to work for her, right? They should start to get better and better and better, and then everything comes crashing down. But first things have to get better. So she's obviously solving her problems the wrong way by listening to this mad woman, and then she's going to reach the midpoint of the novel and have a huge, huge, huge fall, right? She's going to come crashing down. She's going to reach basically rock bottom. And then she's going to have to learn that lesson of inner happiness comes from, you're in control of that. And then things will build back up. So that's the thing that stood out to me the most, is that it happens too quickly. Here are a few ideas that I had on what might this mad woman suggest. So one of the things you want to do if you've got a tight cast is make the characters, very tight. Keep them their relationships really tight. So this is what I was thinking. What happens if the mad woman, if Michele says to Camilla, you should try and seduce Nicolette's husband, right? She's jealous of their relationship. Why don't you seduce her husband, right? Maybe Nicolette goes on a business trip. Nicolette's got this perfect life. Her business is going well. Her marriage is going well. And this mad woman is saying, why don't you seduce the husband, right? Maybe they were they were all friends in school, and the only thing I think of is things would be better, right? Telling her that she should start her own business because she seems to like it. No, I get that, but what I'm saying is her life needs to get better by listening to the mad woman, even though she's doing some pretty horrible things. So imagine that these principal characters were all sort of friends in high school. Camilla always had a crush on the husband, but then the husband went and married Nicolette, right? Leaving Camilla sort of the third wheel, jealous. And now the mad woman is saying, look, it's time to take revenge. If you like this husband, you go and seduce him, right? So maybe that works, right? Maybe the husband is receptive. to it, and then they start an affair behind the back of Nicolette, and we have all that classic stuff of, oh yeah, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to leave Nicolette, and I'm going to be with you, Camilla, blah blah, blah, that kind of thing. The business side of things, yeah, sure, let the mad woman sort of give her really like dodgy advice on business. She's scheming, she's taking deals with really questionable characters, she's cutting corners, she's stealing, essentially, that kind of thing, and yet she's getting away with it in the beginning. Okay, so she's sort of destroying her best friend's relationship by having an affair behind her back. She doesn't break off the relationship immediately, but she's actually, right in front of her, smiling in her face, while knowing in her mind she's really getting her own back at Nicolette. So that restaurant scene could be completely different. I would get rid of this Boyd Ingram, maybe. I would just try and tighten up the characters. So Camilla's doing all these like really horrible things, and yet her life is getting better and better and better. So then there's the part about the therapist, right? Right, yeah. So no, I get that. So Tallulah saying, Camilla's jealous because Nicolette's focus changed and the marriage became a priority over their friendship. Right. That's great. That's a perfect motivation. But what I'm saying is, this mad woman, Michele, has to, twist that and make it such a painful thing, like really turn it into a really dark thing and say, go and break up their relationship, right? You should have that, not her. You'd be, why should she have her happiness and you not have hers? So I think that should be the kind of way you go. I also think the therapist needs to have a more active part in this story. At the moment, she's kind of just like the voice of reason in the background. And if Camilla had only just listens to her like a couple of times, she'll be fine. And essentially that is what happens, right? She listens to the therapist and her life gets better. I think that needs to be maybe tightened up a bit. I can imagine. Right, so I can imagine with this therapist, for Camilla, I think, and anyone really going into therapy or taking advice, the worst thing that can happen is your therapist tells you one thing, and then you see them doing the exact opposite thing, right? So maybe this therapist says, you should be doing this with your life and that with your life, and then Camilla sees this therapist doing the exact opposite, and her mad woman says, what are you listening to this person for? What are you listening to this therapist for? Their life is a mess, right? They're not here to help you. They're going to wreck your life. You should listen to me. And then, again, these are all these factors that just lead to Camilla going, right, you're in control, Michele. I'm going to listen to you. And she starts doing all these devious, horrible things behind the scenes, whether it's with business, her relationship with her friends, and things get better and better by her doing those things. And then it all comes out at the midpoint. She finally, Nicolette finds out about the affair. They have this big blow up in a restaurant or something like that. And then at the same time, her business dealing also falls through, right? They find out that she's been cheating them out of whatever, and her life just goes from being up here, but hanging by a thread, just everything comes crashing down. All her relationships are in tatters, but it's that, it's a real tragedy at that point. Everyone has been sort of destroyed because Camilla has listened to Michele. So that's the kind of thing that's the kind of ideas that I had, is just tightening up the relationships. I think this idea of the seducing the husband is probably a good way to go, just because it's so horrible. Like, it's such a mean thing to do, such a vindictive thing to do. You see your friend happy and then you essentially destroy her life and try and take it for yourself. Okay? I mean, that's what jealousy ultimately is, right? Is that is that I want what you have. And Michele says, well, you can have it, and here's how we do it. So those are a few of my thoughts. I mean, there are other things you could do with this Boyd Ingram character. You said at the beginning that everyone in this world has a mad woman, or their version of the mad woman, right? So this guy Boyd, he's been treated really badly. So if you do go with this route of using this Boyd Ingram, after he's been treated really badly by Camilla, maybe his mad woman tells him to go and take revenge, right? And then you have now, sort of a different perspective, a guy and his mad woman, or maybe it's a mad man telling him, you're going to take revenge against Camilla. Maybe he's the one that then comes back. Maybe you can use both ideas, the affair and this Boyd Ingram character. He's the one that sort of comes in and says, oh, look, she's cheating with your husband, blah, 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 blah. And he sort of wrecks her life that way. I'm just, sort of thinking of ideas, but I think you can make it a lot richer just by tightening up these relationships and making everything. So based on what you're saying, I might go with the seducing husband thing. Why? Because I'm messy. I don't know. I just think, basically you want to make as big a mess as possible. Is I think what the reason is, what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. I think it really works, right? In the sense that, what is the mad woman ultimately? It's the evil inclination, right? She's the personification of the evil inclination that we all have. That voice in the head that says, let's just be bad, right? Let's break bad, right? It's that voice in the head. And in a similar way to Breaking Bad, he sort of goes with his darker desires, and his life gets better. He gets more power. He gets more respect. He gets everything that he wants. Ultimately, he loses everything, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone who's not seen it, but I think that's what you can go. So make it darker, make it more of a love triangle thing, and just make it a whole big mess, right? Let things get better. Let things get better for Camilla. Even though she's doing the wrong thing, and then at the midpoint have it all come crashing down. Or really the dark night of the soul, I guess, where everything goes to hell. Work as well. For her work, you've got two areas of her life that are a mess. Her work and her friendships and her love life. So, listening to Michele should, doing the wrong thing should improve all of those parts of her life, and then it should all come crashing down, and then she has to learn the lesson that true happiness comes from inside. She shouldn't be listening to these evil influences, and then her life should start to just about get better in the denouement. At the end of, there should be there has to be a battle between Camilla and Michele, where they're just sort of screaming at each other, and somehow Camilla finds the strength to overcome this mad woman. That has to be like your big climax, right? It's those two characters going at it, right? And that's going to speak to everyone, because we all struggle with that. Okay, fine. That's great as well. Go with other, seducing the husband. I mean, you're right. Cheating is an overdone plot device for sure. That said, it's hard to think of a plot device that hasn't been used over and over and over again. I don't think it's necessarily a problem that we use tropes and we use plot devices that have been done before. It's the way that we write them, and the scenarios and the worlds that we're building As long as they're different, then, maybe even it's best to stick to what we know works. These stories resonate with all of us. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope you find those useful. Maybe you'll use them, maybe you won't use them. But that's where I got with just reading what you wrote. Okay. If anyone else has comments, please do send them in. If anyone wants my thoughts on what they're writing, I'll be happy to take a look. Not that my ideas are any better or will even have an impact on your work, but it's always good to get a second pair of eyes for sure. Yeah, so there you go. There's TallulahChannel say, yeah, right. So her therapist has her own mad woman, but maybe Camilla overhears the therapist, essentially talking out loud with her own mad woman and saying and sort of agreeing and listening to her, something like that. And then Camilla goes, well, if you're listening to your mad woman, I'm going to listen to mine, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think it's a great world. I think you've got a great world, a great premise, and all you need to do is just make a bigger mess. That's all I'm saying. Make a bigger mess. At the moment, it's just sort of Camilla ends the friendship, okay, and it's sort of just one argument, and then that friendship ends. And same with Boyd, right? She goes out with him on one date, and then she ends it the next day. She just does the right thing, basically. You can make a bigger mess. Let everything, build up, build a massive tower, and then take away the foundation in one fell swoop. Let it collapse, and from the ruins, your protagonist will rise up, and you'll have a better story. Yeah. I hear what you say. The mad woman is not not exactly evil, right? It's just, but it's like okay, so it's like let me just bring it back here. It's like Mizuki Matsumoto in my story. She's not necessarily evil in her father's eyes. It's just unchanneled potential. So too with the mad woman, I guess, in yours. And, in all of our lives, that voice in the head that really gives us some bad advice is just, it's our frustrations, it's our uncontrolled will that needs to be controlled, right? Because it's a powerful force, and if you can bring it under control, there's no telling, how much power can be gained. Yeah, so I think we're very kindred writing spirits, you and me, Tallulah, because as you can see, my first book, Hearing Voices, my principal character has these two voices in his head who tell him to do things that probably he shouldn't really be doing. And but if you want to read more about that, there's a book that I highly recommend. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Now back to business on my end. Okay, so what have we got here? I think we almost finished this page, right? Yeah, just got a few lines to fill in. Okay, so 2 days after my meeting with Curie. Oh, and please do TallulahChannel. If you write a second version of that plot, if you want to refine it, yeah, add the new notes and then send them in. Let's reread them. And we can see how that plot comes together. All right, so we have our guy. He's at the docks. 2 days after my meeting with Kyoto Matsumoto, I arrived at the port of Tokyo for my first day of work. Kyoto is east of Shinjuku. Right. Is east of Shinjuku. Okay, is only east of Shinjuku. Is only 30... Is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? So your story was supposed to be a short story, but now it's turning into a novel. I think that's probably the best way to do it. The last thing you want to do is write a novel that really should have been a short story. Yeah. Kyoto is only 30 minutes east of Shinjuku, but a completely... Okay, so Kyoto might have only been 30 minutes. This is that building the tension. Kyoto might have only been 30 minutes east of Shinjuku, but it was a right. But Kyoto Matsumoto had no jurisdiction here. Jurisdiction here. If I got caught, I was on my own. Okay, so maybe that line goes sort of there. Okay. Okay, have a good night. Great to talk. See you later, Tallulah. If I got caught, I was on my own. Despite being a criminal organization, the Yakuza runs... Okay, so this... Okay, so 2 days after my meeting with Kirimatsu, I arrived at the port of Tokyo for my first day of work. Kyoto might have only been 30 minutes east of Shinjuku, but Kori Matsumoto had no jurisdiction here. If I got caught, I was on my own. Okay, implying that he is going to get caught. Okay, so as a first sort of sentence, paragraph, we need to have that in the forefront of the mind of the reader that, this guy's doing something he shouldn't be doing, and he's probably going to get caught. So we're building that suspense right in to this. Okay, and this section 6 is off limits. That's how he's going to get caught, right? Obviously, he's going to go and check out section 6, and he's gonna get caught. So, all right, if I got caught, I was on my own. We do 100 million tons a year, said my manager proudly, as we walked through the towering stacks of multicolored shipping containers. How much is contraband, I asked. He gave me a bit of a look. So we can maybe put this stuff in here, actually. He said... Oh, so actually, no. Actually, this bit goes maybe here, but without much conviction in his voice. Despite being a criminal organization, the Yakuza runs many legitimate businesses throughout Japan, albeit to hide their office. Yeah, so it's something like that. Okay. And I guess it's a good thing. That's right. Okay, then I guess it's a good thing we've got about the best workers' union in the world, I said. Okay, he laughed at that, not because it wasn't true. Half the guys here were ex-convicts, were affiliated with the Met, right? So, that's right, he laughed at it, not because it wasn't true. Half the guys at the port were ex-convicts and proudly displaying their tattoos of allegiance. I saw, how many, I saw Yakuza enforcers stationed at every major checkpoint in the shipping yard. Okay. Curate said that business had been negatively impacted since her sister had taken over, but from the sheer noise and scale of what I was seeing, it was hard to believe that anything was wrong. And at 100 million tons... Is that right? Is that what it was? 100 million tons? Yeah. And at 100 million tons a year, that amounted to 2 million to at least 2 million 2 million tons of contraband. Okay, so now the manager's going to say, you know, like, this is where you're working. This is your section. You'll be starting here in section 9. Okay, well, actually no. Let's say section 9. Said my manager. Said section 9. Said my manager. This is where you'll be stationed. This is where you'll be stationed. Section 4. Section 4. Something KKK. And then what's going on over there? Okay, so maybe there's a loud sound or something. Noise, big noise. A big noise drew my attention away from him. What's going on over there? What's going on over there, I asked. Section 6 is off limits, he told me. Under no circumstances was I to go there. Okay, so that's basically the idea, right? So more description. I think I'm just going to put that in brackets. I need to do some research on docks, what goes on the port of Tokyo, these shipping ports. Section 9 said my manager. Right, so he's just explaining, you know, what our guy's going to do. This is where you'll be stationed. So in fact, here is a good place to put in, you know, you told us that you have experience with, you know, working on a shipping port. So we're going to use that experience here. So instead of saying before, you know, trying to get rid of as much preamble as possible. I'm not going to start this chapter saying, you know, oh, I went for a job interview on Monday and I told the guy, and then you have that big job interview saying, oh, hello, how are you? You know, why do you think you should work for us? That's really irrelevant to our plot. We know that our protagonist, Oliver Sharp, he knows what he's doing. He's a clever guy. He's got aliases. We alluded to that before. This guy's a con artist of some description. He's like a secret agent, basically. So instead of doing all of that stuff before, we can just say section 9 said my manager. You said you have experience with what do they do at ports? They with not forklifts. You said you got experience with okay, whatever. I need to do the research on ports job. So I'm just going to put job at port. Okay, you said you have experience with this job. So your probationary period will begin here. Okay, right now, then we have the big noise that draws their attention away. A big noise drew our attention to the, let's say, the south, to the southeast side of the port. What's going on over there, I asked. Section 6 is off limits, he told me. Under no circumstances was I to go there. And then he left in a huff. Not a huff. I mean, whatever. You get the idea. And then, you know, this last line is something like, I needed to go to section 6. Okay, but that's basically the page. So let's recap. Let's just recap the story and then see if it's making sense. So, our guy, Mr. Sharp, Oliver Sharp, he has been persuaded by the 18th captain of the Yakuza to infiltrate her sister's rival business. Her sister is the 7th captain of the Yakuza. So these two sisters are both captains, and one sister has said to our protagonist, I want you to help me take down my sister, because of the backstory that we alluded to yesterday, right? So now our guy Sharp, he has arrived in the rivals district. He is in Koto. He has weaseled his way onto a job at the shipping onto a job at the shipping port, the port of Tokyo, and oh, how's the dad feel about this little family feud? Frightened dough. I'll tell you how he feels. He feels nothing because he's dead. The dad was the previous captain of the of Shinjuku, and we alluded to the fact that Kyori Matsumoto, who was being, she's the firstborn child. She killed the father in order to take over as captain. Okay, and why did she do that? Because her father, whilst he was grooming Kyori Matsumoto, the firstborn, to be captain, and while she did everything and was the perfect daughter, her father still just had an affinity. He seemed to love her younger sister, Mizuki Matsumoto, a lot more, right? And at the end of that, when it was time to start thinking about who was going to really take over for him as captain, Kyori felt he's going to give it to Mizuki. She doesn't deserve it. She was a mischievous child, and therefore she killed her father in order to take over by force, the captaincy. So, and now obviously that is all coming out, that's coming back to bite her, because her sister, despite being snubbed out of what was potentially hers, she's gone and become a Yakuza captain of a rival district anyway. Yeah, and now this is going to be carnage. Now we're going to get into it. So yeah, I'll just read that little bit from yesterday. After our guy Sharp has accepted the contract, basically, now we get the backstory. So this is Kyori Matsumoto explaining everything, right? Mizuki was always a mischievous child, said Kyori. Mizuki the Tanuki, my father used to call her. Do you know, she once broke into Principal Tanaka's office in order to change her end-of-year grades. She would have gotten away with it too, had she not also been compelled to, and we need something here. I'm thinking it's like, she destroyed his car, or she, killed his cat, something, just to make it clear that this Mizuki is unhinged. This twin sister, is really some crazy person, right? But Sharp likes that, pretty clever, I said, sensing a kindred spirit in this sister. And that line, the whole purpose for that line is that we're setting up now, in chapter 1, potentially the idea that our guy Sharp, once he meets Mizuki Matsumoto, even though he's agreed to kill her, maybe he's going to be like, actually, I agree with you. And he's going to become a double agent, right? It could be something like that. I don't know whether that's going to be the case or not. And none of us do, us pantsers who are just making this stuff up as we go along. But I'm just leaving that as a possibility. So that thread can be pulled, if need be, at a later date. So pretty clever, I said, sensing a kindred spirit in this sister. Pretty nothing, snapped Kyori Matsumoto. It brought disgrace to our family and dishonor to our name. It was the first time I'd seen any emotion from her. Maybe we can just add a little bit here, because her bodyguards are in the room, right, as well. And so this is the first time we'd said that this sister was this Kuri Matsumoto, she's like she is a very stone cold poker face kind of person who leaks no emotion. So actually, let's make it like this is a really, really strange thing. So I glanced at her bodyguards who looked equally stunned. Okay, and then she reins herself back in. But yes, she said, reeling herself back in like a viper. Like you, my father brushed it off as unchanneled potential. And we can hear the jealousy in her voice. We can hear that sort of acid reflux coming back, you know, the bile coming up from the liver. I really hate my sister, right? The young one who, despite doing everything wrong, my father loved her, right? And it's just building that tension there, right? These two sisters are they're gonna go straight. That would be a great scene to have, right? You know, those two sisters fighting it out. We can get very Tarantino, I guess, there. Lots of blood and gore. Okay, but yes, she said, reeling herself back in like a viper. Like you, my father brushed it off as unchanneled potential. But I don't suppose you can understand how that made me feel, do you, Mr. Sharp? No, I'm always everyone's favourite, I said. But how do a couple of 20-somethings become Yakuza captains anyway? Okay, so, you know, he's keeping up with his quips. He's staying cool. He's enjoying the fact that finally he's managed to squeeze some emotion out of this Yakuza captain who for the whole of chapter 1 has been in control. And remember, our guy, he's got a problem with women. He's not the nicest of guys, but you know, finally he's winning a little bit in this conversation. Okay, so right, my story is simple, she said, sipping her tea. My father died tragically. I ascended to captain in his place. I could have been wrong, but I was pretty sure I saw a smile behind that teacup. I had no doubt that Mizuki wasn't the only unhinged sister. Naturally, this never sat well with Mizuki. Spoiled child that she is, she believed father would bequeath her the great honor of captaincy. Okay, but only I am the firstborn, and only I have earned the right. So we can hear it. We get where she's coming from, right? She was the good daughter. She did everything right. She was groomed to be the Yakuza captain, the next Yakuza captain, and her father was about to give it to her undeserving younger sister, and she took matters into her own hands and said, no, that's it. I don't care. I'm killing the father. I'm going to kill my father and take over by force, right? And that's all between the lines, okay? So I'm not going to say that explicitly. Never use exposition in dialogue. Make the reader work to figure that out. I think that's pretty clear. I think if you're really reading, that does come through. Right, so, naturally, right. But only I'm the first one, only I have earned the right. How did Mizuki come to power? The obvious question. 10 months ago, Mizuki ascended to captain of Koto Ward. Okay, so I think this probably is going to be better as... yeah, okay, so we said before... Yeah, we said before that Mizuki did this thing at Principal Tanaka's office, right? When she was a kid, she broke into the office to change her grades. You know, she's street smart, this Mizuki Matsumoto, so probably it's the same thing, right? It's Principal Tanaka all over again, right? Said Curie. Right, as meaning this sister has, you know, sort of wormed her way into a captaincy at the table of the Yakuza. 10 months ago, Mizuki ascended to captain the Koto Ward. Okay, let's just make this a little bit better. And it has been a nightmare ever since. Okay, she who controls... Koto controls the docks. And already the Yakuza has suffered many setbacks we don't need in business due to her lack of sense. Once again, she brings dishonor to my father's legacy and disgrace to our family name, right? That's pretty funny, right? She's saying, you know, the sister is bringing disgrace and dishonor when in reality, Kyori Matsumoto has, you know, killed her father. So once again, she brings dishonor to my father's legacy and disgrace to our family. Our superiors, or let's say my superiors, will not stand for war between the captains, but something must be done. Okay, so I think we need to add a ticking clock here. That something must be done. There is a captain's meeting. Yeah, that would be cool. There is a captain's meeting in 2 weeks. And Mizuki must be dealt with by then. Okay, so essentially that's their plan, right? They are going to since the Yakuza higher ups, they're not going to allow a war between captains, obviously, because that's bad for business. So Kyori is saying the way we kill my sister is we're going to essentially get her kicked out of being a captain. We're going to wreck her business. We're going to do something at the port of Tokyo to destroy her credibility as a captain. Maybe set her up, and then the higher ups, the Yakuza superiors, they're going to just say, not only are you out of the Yakuza, but you know what she's done, what Mizuki has done is worthy of death, and they're going to kill her. So basically, that's the sort of plan. And then, all right, Mizuki must be dealt with by then. Okay, so I mean that's pretty good as a last line. You know, Mizuki must be dealt with before then. Now, so this line is sort of, it's one of those lines where it's like, all I'm trying to do is get the reader to read, to turn the page and go on to chapter 2. That's not a bad thing. You know, that is we've done that on every other page. You know, you want to write a page turner, so that line sort of has to be compelling. But I do like the fact that I've added the ticking clock. Okay, that's really important. That's something that Dan Brown, you know, Da Vinci Code Dan Brown goes and talks about in his masterclass, that if you're writing a thriller, set up a ticking clock as soon as possible. It just adds an extra dimension of suspense, right? You know, this captain's meeting in 2 weeks. Maybe it's next week. Maybe it's in 3 days. You know, obviously the shorter the time period, the greater the urgency. But if this is more of a James Bondy kind of novel, rather than say a more of a Jack Reacher novel, a lot of those Jack Reacher novels they take place very sequentially over just 1 or 2 days. Everything is very, very quick. Whereas a James Bond one, that can take more like 2 to 3 weeks. So it can go either way. I'm not fixed on it yet. Obviously, we're just making it up. But so there's the ticking clock, though. And actually, that was missing. That was something that was missing from this first chapter. Okay, and then we're going into chapter 2. So he, 2 days after my meeting with Kyori Matsumoto, I arrived at the port of Tokyo for my first day of work. And now he's into the port of Tokyo. He's beginning to infiltrate the rival organization. And this is what we're doing today. So we want to emphasize the points here, just a few points. First of all, this port of Tokyo, in my mind, is a great backdrop, a great setting. We've got the tall shipping containers. You know, there's multicolored shipping containers. They're all full of contraband. We can imagine a chase scene here. We can imagine our guy, you know, he's on top of the shipping containers. He's jumping from one to the other, trying to avoid the people who have found out that, oh, this guy's a spy. He's out to get us. And then, you know, he ducks. Our guy, Oliver Sharp, he he runs into a shipping container, not knowing what's in there. He hides in there, and there are 50 guys, you know, chasing him. They're all outside. He barricades himself in the shipping container. You know, it all looks bleak. And then he turns around, and what does he see? He sees a full stack of contraband arms, weapons, maybe a bazooka. And we can imagine that scene, you know, he kicks open, all the guys are outside, you know, 50 Yakuza guys aiming their guns, ready to come in and take out this guy. And he just opens the, he opens up the shipping container, and, you know, he comes out with, like, you know, some kind of like assault machine gun, and just boom, 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 blows away, you know, this semicircle of Yakuza thugs. That could be a really fun scene. Again, very sort of James Bond. Actually, if it's James Bond, probably he'd bust out of there in some kind of a car. You know, that could be another thing. You know, they're probably, you know, all sorts of Lamborghinis and military grade trucks within these shipping containers. So the port of Tokyo, that's just a great backdrop for a number of scenes. So that's the idea here. Must be at least, yeah. And now he's just okay. So 2 days after my meeting with Kuri Matsumoto, I arrived at the port of Tokyo for my first day of work. Koto might have been only 30 minutes east of Shinjuku, but Kuri Matsumoto had no jurisdiction here. If I got caught, I was on my own. Okay, that's that very secret agent line. We do 100 million tons a year, said my manager. Said the port manager proudly as we walked through the towering stacks of multicolored shipping containers. How much is contraband? I asked. He gave me a bit of a look. Must be at least 2%, I said. That's the situation in London anyway. Questions like that can get you in a lot of trouble around here, Sharp, he said, but without much conviction in his voice. Despite being a criminal organization, the Yakuza runs many legitimate businesses throughout Japan, albeit to hide their off-book stealing. Right, okay, that whole paragraph doesn't really read right at all. I know what I'm trying to say is that this guy is saying, you know, this port authority manager, he's like, you know, we're a legitimate business. Well, we're not really legitimate. We know we've got problems. We know we're controlled by the Yakuza. You know, it's that kind of line. I'm not going to edit it now. I'm going to leave it because I'm running out of time. Okay, then I guess it's a good thing we've got about the best workers' union in the world, I said. So this is Sharp. You know, he's showing us that he can endear himself, even though he's not really that much of a likable person. He's endearing himself. He can turn on the charm when he wants to. You know, he's making a bit of a joke here. Obviously, if this company is controlled by the Yakuza, then their workers are going to be about the best workers' union in the world, right? If they want a raise, they're getting a raise, right? The Yakuza doesn't mess around, right? If the Yakuza wants its workers, its people to be happy, they'll be happy. So he laughed at that, and not because it wasn't untrue. Half the guys at the port were ex-convicts and proudly displaying their tattoo. Ooh, wow, that is an embarrassing mistake. Okay, displaying their tattoos of allegiance. I saw Yakuza enforcers stationed at every major checkpoint in the shipping yard. Curie had said that business had been negatively impacted since her sister had taken over, but from the sheer noise and scale of what I was seeing, it was hard to believe that anything was wrong. And at 100 million tons a year, that amounted to at least 2 million tons of contraband. Yeah, okay, again, these sort of sentences, I know what I'm trying to say, but they need to be refined. But not on an empty stomach, not without breakfast. So I will probably have a think on these later. Okay, so section 9, said my manager, you said you have experience with whatever the job that he's going to do is at the port. So your probationary period will begin here. Okay, you said you have experience with this. No, don't. Yeah, I need breakfast for sure. Frightened dough. You are not wrong. What are you eating? Give me some ideas. What can I have for breakfast? And then I got to get to work. Wow. The day is going. Okay, and then we have this big noise drawing our attention away to the southeast side of the port. What's going on over there? I asked. Section 6 is off limits, he told me. Under no circumstances was I to go there, and he left in a huff. clearly he didn't know me. You know, it's something like that. Clearly he didn't know me very well. Okay, and then we know that our guy, potatoes, rice, eggs, steak. Oh, that would be a good breakfast. That sounds like a dinner, but that would be a great breakfast. Where are you tuning in from? America? Wow, yeah, my stomach is grumbling now. I don't think you guys can hear that on the microphone, thankfully. Okay, that's it. So that's today's page done. You know, another day, another page. Happy with that. We got through it. And you know, hopefully Tallulah channel or is it TallulahChannel? Whatever, TallulahChannel. Great to be able to help you with your own plot. And guys, please do send in your own thoughts, ideas, your own writing problems, or just whatever you want to share with everyone else. Hints and tips. We're all here to help each other, and hopefully this community of writers will grow, and out of it we'll get some some best-selling authors. So really good to have Nerd Rock from the Sun today, who is on their way to massive success. We're sure their first film coming out called Censure, and they've got Tom Conti in the cast. We can read about it on IMBD. We are going to do that, and yeah, it's just great to have so many people starting to tune in and help out everyone else. So okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please do follow this channel. Yeah, Frightened Doe tuning in from the US, all over the world. I'm glad that we can all sort of get together at least on one channel and sort of do some writing. So thank you so much. Please do, guys, follow this channel, because once I get up to 50 followers, then I can start uploading some of the older videos that are sort of now being dropped off. And while they are available on YouTube, it'd be nice to have them all in one place. So okay, any other questions? Please do whisper them to me, PM me, and I'll do my best to help you guys out as much as you guys are helping me out. So yeah, really great day. Please do tune in tomorrow. Give me suggestions on when might be a better time to stream. I do want to be streaming at the most useful time for everyone, so we can get the most people joining in the discussion and the biggest community online at the same time. So yeah, follow us on YouTube, and have a great day. Write really well, and I will see you tomorrow about the same time when I continue to, here it comes, write before your eyes.